So we're diving into some really cool stuff from OpenAI today.
Oh, yeah.
Their newest model, GPT-4o. And what's got people talking is that it can make images
Mm.
right there in the model,
Mm-hmm.
like built in.
Yeah.
No more separate thing like DALL-E was.
Right. Exactly. It's all part of the same system.
Which has got to be a big deal for how AI is going to make art and stuff like that.
Absolutely. It is. I mean, that's one of the big things that jumps out from this technical overview that we've got is just how much this changes the way AI can create visuals.
So for people listening, like, what's the big takeaway here? Because we see these AI updates all the time.
Well, this isn't just another update.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is like a fundamental shift we're talking about AI that can not only understand your instructions like way better than before, but it can actually put text into images
Oh, wow.
and create images that are basically indistinguishable from photographs.
Like really photorealistic
Oh,
stuff.
yeah. Photorealism is one of the things they're really highlighting.
And this all got announced on March 25th, right?
Yeah, just a couple of days ago. And it's already available in ChatGPT if you've got the Plus or Pro subscriptions.
Wow, that's a quick turnaround.
It is. And it tells you OpenAI thinks this is huge. They're also saying they'll open it up to more people soon and give developers access through their API.
Makes sense. So let's get into the specifics.
Okay.
What can this thing actually do besides the photorealistic images you mentioned?
Well, think about taking an existing image and transforming it into something completely different.
Oh, right, like editing it.
Yeah, and it's not just basic edits. We're talking about making complex changes based on specific instructions.
And it can actually follow those instructions reliably.
That's the key. Getting AI to reliably put text into images has been a major hurdle, and it looks like GPT-4o is clearing that hurdle.
Huh. So that's got to be because it's all integrated into that same GPT-4o model, right?
Exactly. It's not just using image data. It's got access to all that knowledge and context from the language model.
So it's like it understands what you're asking for on a deeper level.
Right. So imagine you're designing a character for a video game.
Okay.
You can tell it, make the character taller, give it a different weapon, add a scar, and it'll make those changes in the image while keeping everything else consistent.
Well, that's cool. So it's like an ongoing conversation.
Exactly. And you can even upload an image like a sketch and have it create a detailed version based on that.
Yeah, that's some next level stuff.
It is now, one of the things they've changed is how it actually generates images.
Oh, yeah. The overview mentioned something about moving away from that diffusion model.
Right. So DALL-E used a diffusion model, which is kind of like starting with a blurry picture and gradually making it clearer.
I see.
But GPT-4o uses an autoregressive model, which is more like building the image piece by piece.
Oh, so it's more controlled.
Yeah, exactly. And that
Yeah.
seems to be why it's so much better at handling text and complex instructions.
They also mentioned something called VQVAE and some potential hybrid approaches. What's that all about?
Well, it sounds like they might be combining different techniques.
Oh, it's
Maybe using the autoregressive model for the overall structure and then something else for that photorealism. VQVAE is a way to compress images so the AI can work with them more efficiently, but the details are still kind of being debated in the tech community.
Okay, so bottom line is they're pushing the boundaries here.
Definitely.
And what about the quality of the images themselves? The overview talked about enhanced realism and being able to handle complex scenes.
Absolutely. They're saying GPT-4o can generate images with like 10 or 20 different objects accurately,
Yeah.
all in the right places and with the right detail.
That's a huge improvement.
It is, although it might take a bit longer to generate those super detailed images.
Right.
And it needs a lot of computing power.
I bet those GPUs are working overtime.
They are. Apparently, some people are saying it's melting GPUs.
Yikes. All right, so how does GPT-4o stack up against other image generation AI out there?
Well, there are some benchmarks from Hugging Face, and they show that GPT-4o is really good at what they call prompt alignment.
Which means,
It means it's really good at understanding your instructions and creating images that match what you asked for.
oh,
And it seems to
yeah.
be better than DALL-E 3 in terms of quality and its ability to handle those complex prompts.
What about other models like Google's Gemini?
Well, from what we've seen, GPT-4 seems to be ahead in terms of quality control and text rendering, although obviously artistic preference is subjective.
Right. Yeah.
But the technical stuff looks very promising.
So it sounds like GPT-4o is pretty versatile. Like you said, it can handle complex requests, different artistic styles, and even manipulate existing images.
Yeah, it can do photorealistic stuff, anime pixel art, even Studio Ghibli style.
Whoa. Studio Ghibli.
Yeah, though there are safeguards to prevent it from directly copying the style of living artists.
Good to know.
And the image manipulation stuff is really impressive too. You can do all sorts of edits and painting transparent backgrounds. It's really powerful.
So what are some of the real-world applications for all this?
Oh man, the possibilities are huge.
Yeah.
Think about design prototyping, creating concept art mock-ups, logos,
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
education and research, using it to make diagrams, infographics, scientific illustrations.
And with that, improved text rendering, those illustrations would be super accurate.
Exactly. And then there's content creation. You could use it for blog posts, social media storyboards, anything visual, really.
It's really exciting.
It is. And the fact that it's all integrated with ChatGPT makes it even more powerful because you can have that back and forth, refine your ideas really easily.
That's not just a one-and-done thing.
Nope. It's a whole new way to create.
But with all this power comes some concerns, right? Like ethically speaking.
Of course, there are always ethical considerations with AI this powerful.
Like what?
Well, the big one is misuse the potential for deepfakes misinformation, creating non-consensual imagery. All that gets amplified when you have AI that can create such realistic images.
Right. And the overview mentioned something about relaxed content restrictions.
Yeah, there's some debate about that because they've loosened some restrictions around things like public figures and even using hate symbols in certain educational contexts.
That's definitely tricky territory.
It is, and then there's the whole issue of copyright and intellectual property.
Because it's trained on all those images and text from the internet.
Right, so there are questions about who owns the rights to the images it creates and whether it's infringing on existing copyrights.
And even with all the work they've done to mitigate bias, it's probably still an issue.
It is. They've made progress, but their internal evaluations show that GPT-4o still has biases, like favoring male subjects and white individuals.
So it's a work in progress.
Definitely. And it's something they're actively working on.
Are there any limitations we should know about?
Well, besides the ethical stuff, there are some practical limitations.
Like,
Well, it can still struggle with complex or ambiguous prompts.
okay,
And it might have issues with languages that aren't English.
makes sense.
There are also some challenges with precise editing and making sure characters look consistent across different images.
Right, and there are still content policy restrictions in place.
Yeah, so it's not a free-for-all, but OpenAI does have a multi-layered safety stack in place, and they're using C2PA metadata to help identify AI-generated images.
Good to know. So to sum it all up, GPT-4's image generation capabilities are a major step forward for AI.
Absolutely.
It's a game changer.
Especially in terms of understanding complex instructions and creating images that are both high quality and accurate.
Right, and it opens up so many possibilities for creative applications, but it also brings up those ethical challenges we talked about.
Definitely. So for everyone listening, this is something to keep an eye on because as AI gets better and better at making images, it's going to have a huge impact on our world.
Absolutely, and it makes you wonder, like, how is this going to change the way we see and understand images?
Right, like is it going to blur the lines between real and fake even more?
And how will it affect human creativity? What new skills will we need in a world where AI can create almost any image you can imagine?
That's a big question, and it's something we'll all have to grapple with as this technology continues to evolve. Definitely, it's an exciting but also a little bit scary time to be alive.
That's a good way to put it. Well, thanks for breaking it all down for us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And for everyone listening, be sure to check out the show notes for links to all the sources we used, and let us know your thoughts on this new development in AI image generation.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
Until next time, happy diving.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.